Hello, I'm Ritz Blues, and this is a New Game Plus speedrun of Lifeslide. So I've taken the time to go to one of the stages to grab a power-up, which is an exploit that we can use to move that power-up from the end of the save point to any other stage that we want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and use it on the very beginning of the game. We'll go ahead and get started. We're going to use the Long Boy because it's the fastest plane in New Game Plus. It has the second highest speed, but it has other attributes that make it better for running than the fastest plane. So you can see the green triangle there. We have our speed boost power up. Time starts when the plane comes together. Here we go. And so we're going to take advantage of this speed boost to get through these rings a bit faster. Lifeslide is a beautiful indie game. It's a great example of how low poly assets can be used to make a gorgeous game, like a visually stunning game. And on top of that, the soundtrack is fantastic. And it's a very fun, casual game with a good high skill ceiling for speedrunning. So once this cutscene's over, we will get into the speedrun proper. I hope you enjoy. So, let's talk about Lifeslide and its mechanics. So we pilot a paper airplane, which means that if we fly downhill, we can gain speed. If we pull up, we lose speed. And if we turn too sharp, we lose speed. But if we fly near the ground, we can catch an air pocket along the ground, an air cushion. And that's useful for building speed, especially going downhill. We have a yellow gauge at the bottom, that's our integrity gauge. And that acts as both a timer that will cause our plane to destroy if we fly too slow, which will almost never happen in this run. Or if we collide with too many objects, that will deplete as well. The blue particles are called matter, and that's used for unlocking planes as well as upgrading them. And since we're playing in New Game Plus, though, we won't really need to focus much on matter at all. I am going to pick it up as a matter of fact, but not intentionally. So moving on, striving introduces the will power-up, which is what we use at the beginning of the game. And this power-up is extremely useful for going fast, which is what we want. So I'm going to be constantly looking out for opportunities to boost our speed and grab another one of these will power-ups not too far down the line. They also make for a very good get-out-of-jail-free card if I wind up making a mistake somewhere that would cost a healthy chunk of time, making a bad decision or something like that. So, moving on. Understanding introduces us to a new mechanic, which is these knowledge power-ups. Accidentally split there. So knowledge can be used in context-sensitive places to open doors and gates and things like that. Doesn't particularly directly add to our speed, but it might if our circumstances open us up to things like will power-ups or shortcuts. The level layout is a bit random. It's not completely random. There's a lot of reused like motifs and level designs, but where you start on a stage when you respawn can be random, and the layout of the stage can be a little bit varied from run to run. So just have to react to what we have and try our best to get a good run. So questioning takes what we've learned from our first couple of power-ups there and puts the two together. So if you pick up knowledge, you can use it to gain will, which you can then use to speed up and grab another piece of knowledge down the road. And so that's going to be kind of the cycle for this level, is to grab one and the other and just sort of alternate between the two of them whenever possible. So I'm always going to be looking for opportunities to pick up will or knowledge. Sometimes you don't need knowledge in order to gain the will if it's just floating in the air. So moving on, we're going to get our third and final power-up here, which is called Jump Power-Up, or the Blue Power-Up. I don't actually know the official name in the game. But the Blue Power-Up lets you jump. You get a big burst of vertical movement, which you can then use to convert into forward momentum by tilting your nose down. So we're going to be doing that quite a bit. Oh dear. Hitting that wasn't wise. Oh well. Stay focused and don't panic when timers run low, and it's not too terribly hard to pick up some more integrity as you go. But once we get to the end of the stage, we'll get another bonus on integrity right up here. Although I definitely want to focus on yellow early on here. Experiencing is a very fun stage. Looks like we did. Might have. There we go. So, very fun. I like the design. The developers definitely had fun with this level design. I mean, clearly they went bananas here. It's a pretty sweet level. Again, the main focus here, look for opportunities to pick up will, look for opportunities to pick up jump if we can't find will, and if knowledge can be useful as well, it's something we can definitely grab as well. So moving on, we say goodbye to experiencing. Moving on to freezing. So freezing is a little bit more challenging stage here. We have avalanches we have to watch out for, but there's a few opportunities to keep an eye out for more speed boosts as we go. Like this one. just because there's a will does not mean there is a way to get it. On the current route I'm on, at least. There's always a way to pick it up, just not, it's not always feasible. You know, sometimes they put will in sneaky places that make you try to fly to it, and then you realize it's a dead end, or you're approaching from the wrong angle, something like that. So. Moving on to Yearning. Yearning adds volcanic magma, which adds very nice thermal vents that we can use to gain. Oh dear. Right, easy, easy. Don't panic when that happens. So we're okay here. Just need opportunities to pick up speed and we'll be just fine. Nothing but jumps and some will. There's some will. Next is Shattering. Shattering, we mostly just fly down the middle here and look for will that's kind of easy to snag. There's some alternate paths you can take, little caves and things like that off to the side that you can try and go for, but I find that just sticking with the middle path tends to work out better in the long run. Again, knowledge is not particularly useful here. You just have to watch out for these icicles and otherwise just fly on through. So now, fighting. So fighting is definitely a step up in difficulty. It's a kind of a wall for new players. It's very, very tight quarters, very tight corners, and the piranha plants, or carnivorous plants, or whatever they are, they're not nice. They take a very big chunk of health off if they bite you. So we have to try not to let that happen. Oh dear. Ah, I thought it went left and it went right. That's unfortunate. But it is what it is. So, it wouldn't be a Lifeslide run if I didn't bail out somewhere. The later that you crash in a level, though, the more painful it is. So, better to get it done early than late. It's pretty unfortunate, the timing on that. Nope. There we go. jump power-up is not at all useful here. We don't need extra height, we need speed. Extra height's a good way to die. Speed's a good way to die too, but extra height is definitely not useful. Alright, so we lost a decent amount of time there. But we can make it up later. Healing. Our reward for completing fighting is healing. That was not a particularly good use of speed there. It's okay. We'll manage. Anyway, it's big, it's open, there's plenty of opportunities to grab Will. So, enjoy. Alright, moving on to Awakening. Not a whole lot to say about Awakening. It's another big open level. This one's got some ramps that are nice for making big jumps across these gaps. Not necessarily a whole lot of opportunity to go in for integrity or excuse me, will if you need it. But do what we can. The vines don't make for particularly good air cushions, so a lot of the times you just wind up just kind of coasting across it. Moving on to Dreaming. Dreaming is an uphill battle. It's quite challenging to do well. So again, the strategy here is to look for opportunities to pick up speed boosts or the like. Jump is okay too, but speed is more what we're looking for. Ideally want to grab as many of those as we can. Although we still can't neglect integrity. go. Daring. So daring has multiple paths we can take, lots of options. We can take high roads, we can take low roads. High roads are big and open, low roads offer will as an incentive to go faster. So when I play through it, I usually assess how much integrity I have left, and if I need more, I'll go high, otherwise we go low, because we gotta go fast. Lots of options though. Some of them are quite fun, some of them are quite challenging. Honestly, this is an enjoyable stage, but it can be quite difficult. I'm also adjusting because in the last run that I did, my monitor just crapped out right at the very end. So, anyway. I missed. Oh well. That's the end of daring there. So we move on to one of my favorite levels, inspiring. Only because it's a beautiful water level, and there's not a lot of good water levels in video games, and this is definitely one of them. Constantly looking for good shots to get both integrity as well as will. This level has it all. It has sharks, it has manta rays and flying whales. What more could you want in the water level? Now that we're at the end, we're going to hang on to this because this next level is not fun. And we want to use that speed to get out of here. So we're going to fly up and around pretty much this entire stage. This is fly over country right here. It's called creating. Now I think this is a very creative level design. I think it's unique. It has a very Bastion feel to it. The problem is that sometimes the paths that the game has you take are not intuitive. You'll be flying along thinking, oh yeah, this is real great. And then all of a sudden, block in the face, and you're done. I don't want that, so we're just going to fly over most of it. Only gathering enough will to keep us going. Avoiding those that are considered dangerous otherwise. Alright. Moving on to connecting. Connecting adds pylons. They give cool little speed boosts. And we basically bring our little ping pong ball, a little bouncy ball, from pylon to pylon until we get to a door. And it opens the door for us. And we repeat the process. And it's kind of a neat concept, but unfortunately in the later levels, when they reuse it, it's, well, it's a lot less fun. The one nice thing though is every time you get close to a pylon, you do get a little bit of a speed boost, and that's very useful. Moving on to loving. So loving is a very steep downhill level. It's really good for picking up speed. It's kind of big and open, and then bottleneck, and then big and open again. So, a lot of opportunities to kind of pick and choose your paths through it. There is an achievement for this stage for getting through it without picking up any integrity, but I've never actually tried it. It was bugged on day one though, so I have that achievement even though I've never tried it. We don't really need to worry too much about integrity here, as once we finish the stage, it's going to give us a full refill on integrity. So every Roman numeral chapter does this. Moving on to receiving. I'm crashing into a rock there, which was fun. Receiving, you fly down these middle paths. You gain access to integrity and will, and sometimes jump. So I'm going to often be looking for opportunities to build up both integrity and another chance to grab will. Whoop. Oh well. Hitting those is not ideal. But here we are. On the other side. So fulfilling returns pylons to the mix. And if you don't really play ball here, then these big mountains can be quite daunting to get past. Thankfully, I've figured out a pretty decent route through that's not terrible. And we come out with a decent amount of integrity when we're done too. Alright, moving on, going to giving. Giving, we alternate between looking for opportunities to go fast and looking for opportunities to recover integrity. This can be a very short stage or a very long stage depending on how much integrity we come in here with. So there will be times that I look for opportunities to pick up integrity like I do right now. So having that much right there should be a good enough amount to get us quite a bit more distance. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing any speed right now. The jump will help, but it's not really what we want. So unfortunately, we're probably going to have to dip into another one of these knowledge fountains here. So there's some speed. Alright, cool. So moving on to revealing. So this level is actually pretty challenging for Speedburb, which is the reason I switched to Longboy. That and, you know, everybody pretty much said Longboy's the best, so hard to argue with multiple people who have played the game as well. Oof, not good. Come on now. You can do better than that. Alright. Let's pick up the pace. So Longboy's really good at building and recovering speed. Speedburb can build more max speed, but Longboy is where it's at when it comes to actually like gaining speed and holding it, maintaining it, preserving it even through some of the more tight quarters and things like that. Looks like we're almost at the end. So coming up on the final couple of chapters here. We have retreating. And this is a stage where it's very important that we not only keep as much integrity as possible for the very end of it, but we also keep a will with us. So I will keep my eyes peeled for will and make sure that I have another one available before I consider using up what I have. But otherwise, the next two stages are pretty straightforward and mellow, and would be a good opportunity to just sort of relax with some donations and things like that during a marathon. Just a little out of bounds there. It's okay. It's still good. It's still good. Alright, so there's the end of that. Moving on. Softening. So here, it's very similar to healing in the fact that it's very flat and a good opportunity to pick up speed with these air currents. And they're spaced in such a way that it's not too terribly hard to kind of decide where you want to go next after each one and still be able to choose between matter and integrity and things like that. Could go faster if we used will, but there's not any will power-ups in this level, and I need this will for the next stage. There's no exceptions. Come on now. Let's go. Alright, here we are coming up on Ascending. One of, if not the hardest levels in the game. So, we've got pylons, we've got air channels. We've got routes that aren't always the most obvious or the most integrity friendly. That and then pull up. Good. Alright. Don't get caught by that rock ever again. So So, very focused. Cannot afford to miss certain pylons. But so long as we play nice here, we should be okay. Here we are. The end of the stage. Recalling. So this stage is very fast and some very tight turns in it. So I'm going to be focused a lot on just essentially taking what I think to be the fastest way through. Hoping to grab as many wills as possible on the way. So we had to kill our speed there a little bit to make it through the hole, but we're okay now. And there we are, the end of the game. And time. 42:13. So that's Lifeslide. It gets very stressful towards the very end of the game, so having to focus is quite daunting. This is a new PB for me. Puts me not quite third place, I think, on the leaderboard. I think. Not quite fourth. I don't know if that's my best time or not. Thought I had a better one earlier today. Anyway, but it takes about 40 to 45 minutes to finish the game. World record is 37:39 right now by Ramen Noodles. But I've been practicing and wanting to improve my time, so hopefully as soon as the marathon rolls around, I'll have a more comparable time. Hopefully you enjoyed the run. Meantime, just enjoy the ending. Thanks for watching.